Hello to all the hardworking eBay sellers out there. This is episode number 91 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is December 14th, 2022. My guest in this episode is Pam in Canada, whose motto is I love free. Okay, a quick announcement. Just wanted to update you on what's been added to the premium library since the last update. And remember that Friday email is no longer going out because their system is broken. So please check in to the monthly updates. I add new content every week. On December 2nd, I added a video about how to change the font in your eBay listing description area. With the new sell your item form, it can be a little tricky to find that option. So I did a tutorial about that. Sometimes your font gets messed up if you are working on your listing between different devices, or sometimes we don't even know why it looks wonky when we didn't set it up that way. So technology gremlins behind the scenes, I guess. On December 2nd, I added another installment of the Mid-Century Modern course. That is 15 minutes long. Also, a new bulletin with me on camera talking to you, encouraging you, and giving you some eBay updates. And on December 9th, a video about post-holiday selling that was originally done in 2020, and I updated that for 2022. That is a quick 10-minute video to help keep you motivated, because all is not lost after Christmas. There are still things happening on eBay and a lot of opportunities. So that is there for you. Okay, let's get into the conversation with Pam.
Hello, listeners. Today we have Pam with us, who was just a teensy bit hesitant to come on because she said she's a newer seller, but a successful newer seller. So I wanted to get you on here to talk about your journey so far.
Well, thanks for asking me.
How are you doing this? Well, it's afternoon for me, but morning for you.
Yeah, it's great.
And so where are you located?
Okay, I'm in British Columbia and Canada, in the Kootenays, a small little community of about 8,000, mostly seniors. And I don't know if people know Canada, but we're about 9 hours away from Vancouver. So,
yeah, a lot of people don't know Canada.
We're not Canada, Eskimos and igloos here.
And it's like there are all these different parts of Canada, just like the United States. So, so you're kind of over near the West Coast.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for representing Canada. I think you're my third guest so far.
Oh,
from Canada. And we will get into some of the shipping issues, because I know that is one of y'all's major hurdles, is
yes.
Dealing with your postal service is just different.
Yes.
So let's start off with what brought you to eBay?
Well, my husband's had a lot of health challenges in the last few years. He's never, ever been sick. He's 73, but, it's just a lot of major things. And it's the medications. And if many of you, you have sickness or issues there, the medication prescription cost is killing me. So last year, I think we paid around $5,000 a year for medication. So I thought, okay, there's got to be something that I can do to kind of offset some of those costs. And I can't go back on the workforce, need help with my husband here at Challenges. And I'm not a young, spry person yet either. So I thought, okay, let's, I shopped on eBay. Let's see if I can do this. So that's what brought me on.
Okay. Do you mind sharing what year you were born?
I was wondering how that question was going to come up. So it's the big joke in my family because when the kids, every time it's, my birthday, the kids say, well, mom's about this age. No, I think mom's that old. They might have the right decade. So let's just say I'm not quite mid-century modern.
Okay. Well, I always phrase it what year you were born, because 2 years from now, when somebody listens to this,
Yes,
that will stay correct. If you say how old you are, that's going to change.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I've been married for 49 years. I have an anniversary coming up next week. I've got
Wow.
3 children and 5 grandchildren. And my oldest one is 24. And I had a little chat with him this summer and said, hey, bud, I love you. But if you're going to have kids, you got to get my permission because I am not ready to be a great grandma. So I could be,
Oh,
but I'm not there
no.
mentally.
But you're a baby boomer.
Yes, I am.
Okay. That's all we need to know.
Yes.
Because everybody's perspective is different. Your life experience is different. And I love to tell baby boomers, you're the perfect age group to do this.
Yeah.
Because you've lived through these decades. You remember that thing. Either you had it, your neighbor had it, your grandma had it, you saw it on TV shows, whatever. And the younger ones don't have the benefit of the life experience. Yes, they do know their things and what's relevant to their age group and more new things on the scene, but mid-century modern, you know it, you lived it, you can recognize it, and that helps you.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay. Well, so you've talked about what brought you to eBay. When did you get started?
This October, I started my 2nd year, so I am really new.
Oh, that's not so new. It's not like you started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah, it does take time to figure out all the different moving parts of eBay.
Yeah.
So what did you start with?
Well, that was a challenge. I didn't have anything. We just moved. We downsized because my husband couldn't do stairs. And we had, lots of stuff. My husband went to garage sales for years and bought stuff that he might need. But when we moved, we lost it all. So I thought, okay, what am I gonna sell?
Well, that's funny that you say that because I downsized a little too much when I moved this time. I was invited to a Thanksgiving at a friend's house, and I'm like, I don't even have any 9x13 pans. I don't I had to go buy some casserole dishes and ways to bake and transport food because I got rid of it all. If it was heavy, I just didn't bring it. But when you go thrifting, it's like, oh, you can replace these things so easily and inexpensively. If you just sort of have a list of what you're looking for, eventually it's going to pop up in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of my biggest hesitations was, where am I going to get the stuff? Because we're in a small community. We don't have Value Village or bins or anything. Like we have one thrift store. Actually, we had 2. One closed down after COVID. So, so I just have Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, and, so I thought, but I've been fortunate in finding stuff. So it's turning out really well.
Well, let's talk about some of your finds and where you found them, because you are obviously very resourceful because you're finding things.
Exactly. I don't know if it was beginner's luck, but one of my first big sales was a business just after COVID, like the year after COVID, a business went under. And on Facebook Marketplace, I saw that there was Xerox office equipment for free. So I'm like, what? So I messaged and they said, you're 3rd on the list. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, the next day I get a message saying it's yours if you want. So I'm like, wow. And it's 3 brand new factory sealed Xerox machines for business. So I sold them, and after fees and profit, I made $310.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So wait, did you ship those or were those a local sale?
No, I shipped them.
Were
Yeah.
they big?
No, okay. Well, one was like, the toner, and one was the phaser belt. So they, not like the full equipment. So, they were about, 10 pounds, So yeah, I did ship them.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Jumping in. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
else have you found?
Well, I'm just trying to think of what else. I don't know if you have this in the States, but we have what we call trash to treasure. And it's twice a year, and people just get rid of their stuff. So they advertise it in the paper, and if you don't want your things, just throw it at the end of the driveway in a box or in the grass. And then everyone can just drive around. And if you need something, you pick it up. So I was like, man, I was like a kid in a candy store. I didn't need a purse or a wallet. Just drove around. I didn't even have to research. I just threw stuff in the car. When I get home, I'll have a look at it.
Yeah.
Right. And if I don't need it, toss it out. Well, this one was, I thought it was like a little kid's toy, and it was a car. And I picked it up, and it was really heavy. And I thought, well, maybe it's a piggy bank, but there was no slot. So, okay, I'll just take it home and throw it out. And here it was, a Terry Ross collector's car model. And so I listed it for $189 and sold it for $169, probably in about 10 days. So
Nice.
free. I love that.
Well, I guess what you're describing is kind of like Craigslist curb alerts, where it's not everybody doing it at once, but you can find stuff out at the curb.
Yeah.
If you know where to go and it's going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like a community. So, everyone in the community, you just drive around the community and just, pick at your leisure. So it was fun. It was fun.
So you could stock up for a long time and have
Absolutely
a work from. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's one good source. And free on the side of the road. Now I would never ever do that. And now we're like driving, and my husband pulls over, and what's wrong with the car? Didn't you see that free box on the side of the road? We get out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah, it becomes, I hate to say addiction, or obsession, but it's just your antennas go up now because it's not like dumpster diving where you have to get in and navigate all the slime and dead things and or else might be in a dumpster. I mean, I think that's called dumpster skimming. When you see something on top, okay, yeah, I can get that. Like, I think it takes a pretty brave person to get in the dumpster.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that either. This is much more neater.
The unknown is a little bit scary. Like, did someone just throw a dirty diaper in here? And I'm like, it's like, what's in there?
Exactly.
I guess you could put on a suit like Michael J. Fox wore in Back to the Future, where you're like completely covered.
That would be me.
Yeah. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, exactly. And garage sales, like the first thing I head for is the free box, and there's always a free pile. Mm-hmm. And, I've just learned what people throw out, and people are looking for this, like, I was like, oh gosh, like even my husband's trained, he picks up the cassettes, video cassettes, the audio that you used to put in the cassette and record music on. Mm-hmm. You go in the garage sale, and there's like 10 in a box. And I think I've made $100. I just lot them up, and it's crazy. So, yeah.
So what kind of cassettes are you selling? Are they like audiobooks or music, or what are they?
Yeah, no, well, they're blank. Yeah. And
the blank ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the blank one. And they're factory sealed. People don't use them anymore. Right. So they've had them for years and just throw it in there. So usually out of a box, we pick up 7, 8, 9, sometimes out of one box, just lot it up. And over $100 I've made on that. So
yeah, those are great to sell. They call that dead tech.
Yes.
But it's not really dead. It's been resuscitated.
Yeah.
Okay. What else have you found?
Okay. Well, a sterling ring box. The second thrift store that we had that went under. And so they were getting rid of their stuff, and they just had it in boxes, like just the storage, just nothing was sorted. Like it was just thrown in a box or clothes on the floor. And so, and there's broken glass in the box, and I'm trying to, gingerly get in there without, cutting my my hand off.
Right.
And I picked up this little metal thing, and it was just black, and I don't know. And so whatever you could carry out, you got for $20, and it was small enough. I just added it, to whatever. And I get home, and it was a Sterling Burke's ring box, a vintage. Now, Burke's in Canada was a very high-end jewelry maker. And so it cost me $1, and I sold it for $169. So.
Well, I think you have the Midas touch. It's just, this seems very natural for you. Like you're not wondering like, where do I get, what do I sell? You're just on top of it.
Yeah, well, I think that has a lot to do with I think what I've learned, like, before I started eBay, I joined Facebook groups, sellers, and I would read the feeds. I had a notebook, I took notes, went on YouTube, and that's where I found you. And I learned a lot of stuff. I learned what to look for and, whatever. So learning that gives me the edge, I think. And I just took the time that I wanted to learn. I mean, I'm old, but I can learn.
Well, I'm glad that my videos helped you, because when I'm making them, I feel overwhelmed. There's just so much that you can do. And I just feel like this is a calling to get that information out there, because nobody can get it all. There's plenty for everybody. And I learn new stuff every single day. Like, really? People buy that? And I shouldn't have that attitude after this many years. Like, I should already know, yes, people buy anything, but it's still surprising sometimes to see these sales and like, really?
Yeah.
People want that now,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate all your hard work, because I know it's hard. Like when I, do research on an item or whatever, it takes a lot of time. And the fact that you're willing to share that and do all the hard work, that I've learned a lot. So thanks for doing that.
It's my pleasure. And it's not really work. It's interesting because, the community provides the content with sharing their sales. So, it is a group effort. And, there's people that post every single week what they found. And that's helping all of us learn more, because
I agree.
Contributing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to hear about some more stuff you found for free.
Well, I was say wouldn't free, but it was at a garage sale, and it cost me $2. And it was milk glass, little, dessert dishes or soup dishes, and it looked very mid-century, which, I get the vibe. Mm-hmm. And it was just white dishes, and they had like a red and white checkerboard trim, and everyone's Pyrex, and it was $2. I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't Pyrex. I went home, did the research, and what was it? Thermocrisa. And so, I'd never heard of it, but now I know it. I did research, and so I listed it at $109, and a week it sold for $90. So I'm like, that's the brand I'm going to remember.
Okay, and that was $2.
Yeah. So 2 into 90, I figure is pretty good.
And can you spell that brand? I've never heard of it. For the listeners, can you spell that?
Oh, yes, it is Termocrisa. Thermocrisa.
Okay. No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Now you can look. Now you can look.
Yeah, I don't mind shipping breakables if it's that kind of profit margin.
Yeah. Well, I find most of my, because I'm doing the a lot of my stuff are breakables. So I have to double box and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't have to, but I choose to double box. So what else? Now I can say you said free, so I'm just thinking, did I put all my free items down there?
Just anything that you found and sold, because it doesn't sound like you're paying very much for anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at my store, and it's like I only have about 130 things listed. But looking at what I have listed, about 85% of my items cost me under $3. So
Yeah, that's great.
Right. I don't like spending more than $5 on an item if I can help it.
I know you make your money when you buy. That's
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
getting into that more and more. I don't know if you've heard me say that since I moved, I'm finding things so much cheaper and stuff I never saw before
Yeah.
in Georgia. Like it's a completely different vibe. And some things that I would be paying $6 for in Georgia are $1 or $2. And you add up that over 100 sales, and that's significant money.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, my whole business model shifted. I can price things lower. I can take lower offers because I'm paying less. And I did not see that coming.
Right. Right.
I
A little
even
gift.
before I moved, I made up all these routes around the Atlanta area, but it's like 4 different routes with maybe 4 or 5 thrift stores on the route, like a circle, and with a hotel nearby. Like I was going to go to Atlanta and stay and do my thrifting and come back to Greenville if I had to. And that's not even going to be necessary. But
Right.
I spent like a whole day making these routes, picking out my favorite stores where I got the best items that, are close to a major highway, 85, 75. Yeah, that paying as little as possible for these items that you're selling for $100 or more. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know. And that's with your the embroidery floss from your book. Thank you for the book, by the way.
Oh, yes. I asked you to be on the podcast, and then I'm like, didn't I just send her the BOLO book? And yes, and you're in Canada.
Yeah.
And so it still works there.
It absolutely does. Yeah. And it's so nice to have. It's like, oh, and I took it to my friends and my sisters, and they're looking through that book, and they could not believe,
I know.
what people are looking for and the price they're willing to pay for it. So
Yeah, I've heard several people say that they use it as a coffee table book because guests come over and pick it up and they're like, really? Oh my gosh, I have one of those.
Yeah.
Or my mom has that. Or, oh, I just threw it.
Yeah. It stays in the car. It's in the pocket of the car. So
yeah, there you go.
Whip it out. So just like, okay, so it doesn't take me long to source because there's only one thrift store and it's small. So basically it's Facebook Marketplace and garage sales. So this time of the year, it's kind of whatever. And we don't even have like a auction site. A lot of little communities have on Facebook 24 auction. Well, we don't have that. My sister has one where she lives, and it's about 6 hours away. So I joined the group and I watch and I bid on items, I pay, she picks them up and stores them.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge for me was, how do I know the value of the item on, what they're doing? And so I just take a screenshot, and then I've got the photo booth. I remove the background, put it in Google search, and then I know whether to bid on the item.
Oh, that's really smart. So these are online auctions or estate sales.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with Facebook Marketplace. That's my routine of, since I moved, because it's everything's smaller here. Greenville's a much smaller city. In Atlanta, it was like, oh, I'd find something and it would be an hour and a half away. And it's like, I'm not doing that. But that's my routine now in the morning, is looking on different groups in Facebook Marketplace to see what's new that day and trying to be the first one to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you have to look. There's a lot of looking, just like in real life in thrift stores. There's a lot of looking, but it's the convenience of doing it at home in your pajamas while you're having coffee, or
I love it.
Whenever you can just jump on for 10 minutes and look. If you find something great, if you don't, there's always tomorrow.
Yeah. So this one day they had an auction, or I was watching an item, and what it was is Arthur Court. I don't know if you've heard of it. And it's like a company in England. And it was a soup tureen, and it looked like a cabbage. And it had the base plate and the lid, just looked like a cabbage.
Okay.
And had the ladle. And so I scooped it up and looked at there, and I bid $30, which killed me because I thought, oh my gosh, 30. But I knew
way out of your comfort zone.
Right, way out of my comfort zone. But I sold it probably within about 2 weeks for 169. So it wasn't too bad for the $30.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough when you try to set these parameters for how much you're going to pay. And I remember, like, if something was $10, behind the counter at Goodwill or something, I was like, oh, $10,
Yes.
paying $10. Then you look it up and it's like, oh, a necklace that'll sell for 200. Okay, well, wait, that's different.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I'm not running out of things to find, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
But I was gonna say, I have to tell you about my Lego story.
Oh, yes.
Yes, this is interesting because I listened to your podcast on the Lego guy, and I thought, where was this podcast before I sold the Lego?
Yeah, it always is kind of like a day late, $1 short.
No kidding. So my grandson, of course, wasn't playing with his Lego. So I said, would you like Grandma to sell those for you? So, of course, get these 2 big bins, and I'm going, okay, now I want to make them the most money. How am I going to sell them? Well, first I had to wash them and sort it, take the clones out, wash again. And then how am I going to do it? By color. Well, some are vintage, so it's not really white and hearts. No. I'm like, okay, this took us months. And, at least it kept my husband occupied. He got something could do. And then in the end, I ended up throwing back in a big bin, weighing it out in 2-pound lots,
Uh-huh.
just like that fellow said in the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And selling them. So I got rid of most of them, and I didn't tell him that I had sold them. So just went to visit, and they said, Grandma sold some of your Lego. And it's like, okay, so, here's the money. So there's this box on the table, and it was $310 in quarters, nickels, and dimes. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to just give you the bills. I did all the work. You're going to have to roll it up and count the money. He wasn't too happy, but Legos is off my list now.
So you don't want to do any more of those?
No. Well, if I get them for nothing, I will. But now I know it'll be just, a big bin, put it by the weight, and because, buyers know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a
I
learning
think
curve.
you have to love Lego to do some of that work.
Yeah.
The sorting and the research and, the minifigs are easy.
Yeah.
Look up, but it's overwhelming to me. I don't even look at Lego when I'm out. It's just, I don't want to do all that. I'm like, give me some Christmas ornaments. Give me some mid-century modern stuff. Give me some vintage underwear.
I know. It's just crazy what people are looking
No,
for.
it's like now I've got a fire in my soul that's like, where's the vintage underwear? I'm all into that now because I sold that one pair for $70.
I know, it's crazy.
And that's not really even that much by vintage underwear standards. I mean, you can get a lot more depending on what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, who knew? Some days I just have to laugh. Like, yeah, I went to college and got a business degree so I could sell underwear.
If it works, whatever works.
That's the thing. It's just, who cares at this point? And as a matter of fact, when I started eBay back in 2003, it got around like the neighborhood and stuff, what I was doing. And people were like, why do you want to sell used clothes online? Why do you want to do that? And I'm like, because I can, like it was a new concept. I mean, reselling's been going on since the dawn of time, but just to have the internet is, that's what catapulted reselling, because people have had junk stores and antique stores and all that forever, but being able to do it online from home, selling things to strangers is like, wow, what a concept.
Right? I know. And, it's ideal for people that, don't have the education to go in the workforce, or something's come up, they need money, and anyone can do it. It's anyone can do it. That's the nice thing. And you can do it. And
I don't even think the education is relevant, because so many people choose to do this. They leave high pressure corporate jobs. They've been CEOs of companies. Stephen Gittler was on. He's a doctor. Becky Johnson is an author. She's written like 60 books, and she does this because it's fun. It's, I don't want the education piece to deter people, because people from all walks of life do this. There's no barriers to entry. And sometimes it's a choice, because doing your chosen profession with the degree you have is you're burned out. You want to do something fun.
Yeah. And this is fun. I never thought I would never thought I would see myself here in a million years.
Do you ever get to the end of the day and you're just like, oh, I'm so tired. I can't do anymore, but I just want to do more.
Yeah, my husband looked
stuff. Yeah.
My husband's like, you love doing this, and I do. And I love, looking for stuff and finding stuff that you don't know is valuable till you get home, or finding something that is valuable, and you're like, it's the thrill of finding something. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you get home with your loot, I call it.
Yeah.
And I log it in my spreadsheet and spread everything out in my office. And it's like, oh, which thing do I want to do first? Like, you can't decide because it's all so interesting and fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And another area that I've been having success with, I think, is magazines. And often at garage sales, people have a big stack of them, free, you just pick yourself. And it wasn't an area that I was like, oh, who wants People magazine or whatever, So I was at a garage sale, and this lady, it was just me and this lady, just a few items, and she had 2 piles of magazines. And I can't remember what one was, but the other one was like, Farrah Fawcett, People, and whatever. And she wanted $5. And I couldn't really research there because it was just me and her. So I go back in the car. My sister was my chauffeur. And I look at my phone, and I said, don't start the car. The video, start the car. Don't start the car.
Right.
So I went back out to the lady. She goes, oh, you're coming back. And so I got the magazines for Farrah magazines, about 6 or 7 for $2, and I made 120. So,
which magazine was that?
It was just like People magazine, just regular magazines you'd buy back in the day. But she was the pinup, or she was the main cover.
It's the Farrah Fawcett one.
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett. So it depends on who the person is about. I didn't think she was that popular, but
yes.
Now I know what to look for.
Yeah, some of those magazines, the iconic ones, like Jackie O or something like that. You can never say you should always sell this or you should never sell this, because there's exceptions to everything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And weird. People like weird. There was a Bigfoot book at one of the garage sale, right? And it was from the 60s, right? And it was like, somebody here in BC had written about it. And it was just weird enough. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to post it up there. It was free. And I sold it for $89 because people are like, this fellow loves that kind of stuff. And he says, if I ever find anything else, to let him know. So
Bigfoot is real.
Yeah.
I mean, he is real. He's out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You ever watched Missing 411?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, there's books, and he has a YouTube channel, and it's about all of these, they call them cryptoids, are these creatures real or not?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just fascinated with the unknown. Like, yeah, I believe it. They could be out there. I mean, prove that he's not.
Right? You just don't know.
And now with all this DNA testing, they found stuff that is from unidentified creatures. Like it's sort of a primate, it's sort of this, but it doesn't match anything. Yeah. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. So
yeah.
The Bigfoot book, I can see that selling.
Yeah. And it was, like I say, it wasn't even like a book. It was more like a magazine, not even a magazine. It was just like, a local person did it and printed off a few copies, to sell locally. But you just never know what people are looking for. So. Oh,
I know. The weirder, the better.
Right.
That really is a motto for eBay. And you don't know that until you've done it for a little while, and because you don't know what weird means.
Yeah.
After doing this for so long, and I see something I've never seen before, or, oh, that is interesting. Someone's going to like that.
Yeah.
Somebody posted I don't know if it was just a sculpture. It was a wooden thing that had two horse heads on it. And she said, "Oh, I just got this because it looked weird. Never seen anything like it." I'm like, "Yep, that's what people want. They go to eBay to look for something to be a conversation piece or just an eclectic decor theme. And yeah, the weirder, the better."
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm really learning is don't throw anything out. Like even when I've got stuff at garage sales or estate sales, you throw a bunch of stuff in a box. I was like, don't throw anything out because you just do not know what people are looking for. And I think my point in mind is that post where I posted and you responded to that picture, that high school picture that I sold within 5 minutes. It was a black and white school photo.
Okay.
And I posted in the group and it was like, who's going to be looking for it? It's like, okay, you're either going to be somebody who was in the class. It was 1955 graduating. The school, who else would want that? Like it's so item specific.
Or maybe the school's not there anymore. Like my
yeah,
school got bulldozed. And
yeah.
so now, just because you went to that school or it was in your town or
Yeah.
your parents went there, whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be connected to somebody.
And I found that out and quickly because I thought, okay, it was free. And it was one of those long pictures that you would find in the halls, like, big, long, the whole class and the black and white. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to throw it up there because, it might take a year, but somebody might look. And so in my title, I make sure I put the school, the year, the class, the photographer studio. And within 5 minutes, somebody bought it for $30 and paid shipping. So $50 for something that I was going to just toss. So.
Yeah. And like high school yearbooks, college yearbooks. My mom came to live with me back when I first started doing eBay. She had hip surgery. So we kind of joined forces. And at that point, we started going through her stuff because she knew she was going to move again. And I knew it would fall on me one day. So I was like, this is perfect time to start thinning out your stuff. But we came across her University of Alabama yearbooks, and she was there when Bear Bryant was there.
Oh, nice.
And so we sold those probably for about $100 a piece. They'd be worth more now, probably.
Yeah.
All the pictures of the football team and Bear Bryant with his iconic hat and just, so you just never know. And they weren't in that great of shape.
Yeah.
It's just that they were old. They were from that time period. They had famous people in there. So that I think the ephemera, photos, postcards, handwritten letters, recipes, all that stuff is worth looking up because you just don't know.
Oh, I know. And, I've sold lots of those things, recipes, handwritten, and the amount that people are willing to pay for those things.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Where did you find them and how much did they sell for?
Okay, so I sold it, you sell them in a lot. And I think I've made probably about $120. So 2 lots, 2 different times. Garage sale or even Facebook. One was at Facebook Marketplace, the big box, free, so okay, I'll go there. And, of course, handmade, or handwritten, people like that. And what I did was I posted like part of the recipes. You couldn't see the whole recipes that were interesting.
Oh, okay. So it's like a secret recipe.
Right. Yeah. Like something good. Like, and this one lot had like home remedies from the 1920s, for health or whatever, along with the recipes. And so with the date written on it. And so I put part of those clippings in there. So and it sold rather quickly. I think that sold for $59, that lot. And the other one, I think, sold for about $49. Same thing. Because people are, that's where you find family recipes you don't find in books.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's just very easy to list. People just, that's how I list them anyway. I just put some photos of some interesting recipes. Even those I've sold actually quite a bit. The recipe books that are often put together by schools or church groups.
Yes.
Right. They're always free. And people that lived in that area or that time are looking for that. And man, they sell like hotcakes. And that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Around the South, we have the Junior League. I don't know. Is that in Canada? Do y'all have that?
No.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
a service organization, and they would always put out a cookbook.
Yeah.
And then churches and just all kind of odds and ends. And the untrained eye would look at that and say, oh, well, that's no one's ever heard of that. That's not Betty Crocker. It's not Southern Living. It's not The Joy of Cooking.
Yeah.
But you'd be amazed. The older you get, the more nostalgic you get. And somebody might just see that small church cookbook.
Yeah.
And, oh, they went to that church, or they live near that church, or whatever it is. And it's the nostalgia, I think. It's not necessarily.
Well, I think nostalgia really sells. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And some of these recipe books too, I think I think it's on that. Well, my mom used to live there because it's a vintage book. Maybe her recipe is in there.
Oh, right.
So,
yes.
I mean, they sell rather quickly. So that's another free item that does quite well for me.
Yeah, and that is a great angle to go at if maybe you don't really like selling books, but the cookbooks, at least in the thrift stores I go to, they do have them organized by topic. So you can just go to the cookbook section and quickly look through, and they usually have a spiral, or they're bound in some kind of inexpensive way because, it's usually a charity that's doing it for money. So they're not going to have the standard bound edge like a book printed at a big printer would have. They're going to be spiral or that plastic comb stuff or whatever. So they're easy to spot on the shelf. You'd like to do some express thrifting.
Yeah. I know we do have one secondhand bookstore here, but nothing is organized. Like there is no section. So it's just.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went in there once. I was in there for about 20 minutes. Said, okay, I can't do this because I don't know where to look.
Yeah, that doesn't work with my brain when it's just like a free for all. I think that's why the bins don't appeal to me, because I like to have things organized. And you go in thrift store. Okay, I'm gonna look at the linens. Now I'm going to look at the accessories, and you kind of, I don't know, it's just the way my brain works. But then again, I do love the hunt.
Yeah, I know. In the wild, you're going to find something. I can't fathom the fact that I'm doing all this.
Well, what is your professional background?
I used to work as a cake decorator.
Really?
I've done thousands of wedding cakes. So,
really?
Yes, that's my experience.
That takes a lot of patience.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did a cake decorating phase when my kids were small. And my thing was like, oh, it's just hours and hours of work. And then it's destroyed in 15 minutes.
Yes.
So did you take pictures of all the cakes you decorated?
I did, as a matter of fact. And when I got my second job, that's how I got the second job. I had photos.
Okay. Yeah. Portfolio.
He looked at the book and he said, you're hired. So
good for you. I think that's why I like making videos and podcasts, because they're going to last forever.
I know.
And can be consumed by many people and not destroyed like a cake.
Yeah, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what the podcast is about.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, let's touch on your shipping challenges in Canada.
Yeah. Well, we don't have global shipping here.
Okay.
So that's like, we don't have that, sort of catch your back. You send it to a center like you do in the States, and if anything happens, they're responsible. So I ship internationally to United States. That's considered international.
Right.
Right. And so the shipping costs in Canada are actually more than there. It costs me to sell something in Canada will cost $4 to $5 more than it's cost me to send to the States. More like I can't believe I'm paying so much more money to ship here.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder why.
It's our, post office. I know I had a customer in Canada down east there, and they ordered a little baby blanket. And so it was just a little poly bag. I think it weighed about just 12 ounces or whatever, and took her to the post office. And it was cheaper to put it in a flat rate box, a big box for $19.49. I saved her $4.
Uh-huh.
So I put this little bag and I put a note in there and I said, you might be, because she's paying for shipping, you might be wondering why I shipped this little thing in the big bag in
Uh-huh.
this box. I said, I'm saving you money. So I don't know why we have crazy, crazy prices. But I find with shipping in the States, because that's international, the options for shipping are very limited, Canada Post. Like, I don't know why it is. I want to do tracking and they have a limit on the size of the box and the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, if I took it to the post office, there's no issue. But through eBay, I'm not getting the options of selecting those services. So I find that frustrating.
Well, and I'm looking at your location here. You said you're near Vancouver.
Yeah.
So you're just barely in Canada. I mean, it's not like you're way up, near Alaska.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's cheaper to ship to the US. And what percentage would you say of your sales are shipped to the US?
I would probably say about 95%.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting that you're doing your sourcing and you live in Canada, but your customers are mostly in the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah. Because the shipping is way cheaper in there. Like, it's just I can't understand it. And so now I am starting to expand more international rather than the United States.
Mhm.
But I'm hesitant because I have breakables, and if you're shipping to a country, I want to make sure it gets there in one piece.
So what about first class international?
Yeah, I mean, I can do it. I have the option. There's nothing holding me back. But if something happens, it's up to me. I can't go back to global shipping or eBay and say, it's all
Well,
on me.
but what you
Um,
can do is go through pirate ship and they have insurance.
I don't believe we have pirate ship here in Canada.
I thought you could do it from anywhere.
No. Well, yeah, it's not through pirate ship. I mean, I can go, like, I can get the label off of, to print it out. I can use FedEx, UPS, or Canada Post,
Okay.
and I can ship anywhere, but I have to do it myself. Like, it's not anyone else is another shipper or is gonna do it for me.
Well, but what you can do is if you ship first class international, you can go to ShipSaver, ShipSurance, some of those that are insurance companies for global shipping, and you can just add the extra insurance yourself.
Yeah.
So
Well, I can do that when I do the label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have done that. Like I do it like for, of course, expensive items. But I had a buyer reach out to me. It was Old Country Rose teapot, like a
Mhm.
little rabbit, very, very cute, $5. And so I knew it was worth something, but not that much. So anyway, I listed at 119, and about 10 days later, I get a message from somebody from Japan wanting to know what the shipping costs were.
Mhm.
So I went in and changed the listing and added Japan to it, and then I messaged her back so that she could see what the cost was.
Mhm.
And then she put in an offer of 90, which I accepted. And I didn't know the shipping cost at that point either. But when I printed the label, she, asked me to be careful with shipping because it costs $70 to ship.
Yeah.
So technically, I always double box, but for her, I triple box. And I told her that I'm going to triple box this for you. She got it in one piece. She was very happy, great feedback, and was, happy to pay that price. So I can do it. And I do insure those costly items, myself, but
Right.
it's just, if anything happens, I just worry that I can't handle it.
Well, but you can. So I feel called to push you out of your comfort zone because once people figure out a way, and I know it's different for you in Canada, but then they're like, oh, why didn't I do this all along? They realize how easy it is. And if you add that extra insurance, I've never had it more than $3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's based on the value of the item, but I've had to file claims. This was way before global shipping, pirate ship. This was back in the day.
Yeah.
I did first class international and added insurance, and I had like 2 things that didn't make it. I filed a claim with, it's called InsurePost, and it wasn't connected to eBay. This was just on my own. And yeah, they refunded the cost of the item. You lose the shipping cost. So if it's $20 to ship it, you're going to be out that. But it was the only safety net we had at the time.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out what kind of risk you're willing to take. If it's $70 to ship it and it doesn't arrive or it breaks, your insurance isn't going to cover that shipping cost, just the cost of the item. So
yeah.
I can see that would be limiting, because I don't want to be out $70.
Yeah. I know exactly. And so, since I've done that, and I know I have, I can do it successfully. You can get the little, okay, you can do this.
Yep.
Right. So I've added it to my listings, and I've gone back to some of my listings and added international worldwide. So I know I can do it. And I'm just, it's just the triple boxing for the, the very delicate items. But thank you for that.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, and it's fun to ship things all over the world. You don't realize how fun it is till you start doing it. You're like, wait a minute, where is this country? What is that? And I sold a t-shirt to someone in Brunei.
Oh,
which is over by Saudi Arabia somewhere. And it's like, the only thing I could think of was the Sultan of Brunei. Like it wasn't, but that's what popped into my head. That's the only reference I had to that country, was the Sultan of Brunei.
Yeah.
And I thought, somebody in Brunei, this little tiny but very wealthy country, just bought a t-shirt on eBay that I found at Goodwill. Like anything's possible.
They obviously don't have it there.
Yeah, like they wanted this t-shirt. So, okay. But, countries like Cyprus and, the Maldives, and like, I got to look at a map to see where these places are. I don't know these places, but it is interesting to see where things go. And you don't want to tell them, I found this on a curb for free.
No, you leave that part out.
No.
You don't need to know the details.
Right. The dark secrets of online sellers. Maybe that's my next book. The dark secrets of reselling.
Get a book out, Suzanne.
Yeah, I know. It's other than the BOLO book, I'm not writing another book. That is not on the horizon. That was too much. So, okay. Well, as a newer seller and in Canada, what kind of advice would you like to pass on to other sellers who are listening?
First of all, I guess, don't put a roadblock in front of yourself. You can do it. Doesn't matter your location or your age, and what you can learn. Go to YouTube, watch some videos, follow some groups on Facebook, get some information, and you can do it. You have the confidence. It can be done. Just educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Educate yourself. And I think what helped me a lot was your online course. And I think I'd say the only one that's online, not through YouTube or anything. You take actual courses that you teach.
Right. The premium library. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. The whole gambit of everything. And when I think of education, you're going to pay thousands of dollars. Well, here in Canada, my cost for your courses there is $23.50. So, and it's detailed. So, pay the money, learn a lot, and you can do it. So, don't give up. And you'd be surprised. You just don't know what's going to sell and to who and when.
So did you take the course on vintage underwear?
I took all the courses. That's why I laughed, because I saw that.
There's so many key words that people don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Well, for everything really, but when I was putting together that course, I was like finding out all this new stuff too, and just and then at the end I said, this is going to be a multi-part course because there's just so much to say. And what I like to do is give people visuals.
Yeah.
So, what to look for. Obviously, look for the union label. But beyond that, what are these things? What are these little details? They have names. And the collectors know those words.
Yes.
So if you want to attract the collector to your listing, you got to know them too.
Yeah. And that's why I love your course, because you teach all that. And I was on for 4 months, and then I took a break because you always add a new contact. And I went, I see your things, new contact. I go back and watch the new contact. And my gosh, that's amazing. I just want to thank you for that, because that's given me the courage and the knowledge that I need. So I'm loving
I
it.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and it was designed that way to come and go, because life happens.
Yeah.
You get sick, people get sick, you have to be a caregiver.
Yes.
You move, you change jobs, all the zillion things that happen that can take you away from eBay business. So it's designed like Netflix, where join, pay your monthly fee, get access to everything. You can leave, you can come back and catch up. So Netflix for eBayers. Yay.
Yeah, exactly. And can I just add this, that whenever I've made a comment through something I've learned through a course, I always get a response from you. And it's not just like a thumbs up that I listened it. It's a personal response. And so that one-on-one is amazing. So once again, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And that is me all the time.
Yeah.
I don't hire that out.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what people are asking and what their comments are, because that may lead to another course or an explanation of something, or if several people are confused or whatever. Yeah. I like, just like reading your eBay feedback.
Yes.
You want to see what you did right and what you could do better. And you're not going to know that unless you actually talk to the people. So,
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for making time out of your busy listing day. What's on your schedule for the rest of the day?
Listing, because we're getting a snowstorm for 3 days. So I'm going to be hunkering down.
Perfect. So all those curbside treasures are going to get listed.
I love free.
Oh, I know. That might have to be the title of your episode. Pam in Canada. I love free.
I do. Like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm not even going to go there. It'll take another hour.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have you back on at a later date and catch up on what else.
Absolutely. Would love it. Thank you so much for asking me.
Okay. Well, thanks again. And we'll see you on the Facebook group.
You betcha. Enjoy your day.
All right. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Pam, for coming on and sharing your eBay journey. Stay warm up there in Canada. I don't know how you guys do it. On to today's trivia question. Why is wireless pairing of electronic devices called Bluetooth? Where did that name come from? Here are 5 seconds to think about it. Okay, here you go. Apparently, the idea came from a member of the Bluetooth invention team, an Intel mobile computing engineer named Jim Cardock. According to his account, he was reading a book about Vikings at the time and drew inspiration from a particular historical figure. Bluetooth was borrowed from the 10th century second king of Denmark, King Harald Bluetooth, who was famous for uniting Scandinavia just as we intended to unite the PC and cellular industries with short-range wireless links. Indeed, Harald Bluetooth Gormson ruled as King of Denmark in the mid to late 900s. Many credit him with bringing Christianity to what was previously a pagan region, as well as uniting different leaders in non-violent negotiations. The Bluetooth logo is a combination of the initials H and B written in Scandinavian letters. For those who wish to know the origin of Bluetooth had something to do with teeth that are blue, you may be in luck. Some sources have theorized that the Scandinavian king was called Blatant aka Bluetooth, because he had a dead bluish tooth in the front of his mouth that was visible. And Bluetooth is just a bad translation of blatant, spelled Blatand, which could have referred to a dark-skinned man. Although Bluetooth was initially only supposed to be a placeholder code name for the tech project, it wound up sticking. Thus, Bluetooth technology and Nordic history will forever be linked. Now you know that interesting fact. Next week, my guest is Kim, another reseller here in Greenville. We both moved here recently, so we got to know each other in person when we met for coffee and actually ended up talking for 3 hours. She will share her eBay journey that goes back to the days of selling Gymboree online. We will also discuss our plans and our vision for a resellers networking/social group here in Greenville, South Carolina. The group will be open to anybody who either lives in the area or wants to travel here to join us. And thank you for including my podcast in your day. I really appreciate all of the listeners out there, not only for tuning in, but for sharing this podcast with your friends. I received some year-end stats from Spotify last week that this podcast is in the top 5% of the business podcast category. And that just blew me away. I am so happy that you guys like this podcast and keep coming back week after week. Okay, signing off now. Talk to you next week. Have a great day on eBay. Bye.